You are listening to the Omnicast podcast about digital marketing. I'm Tyler Jacobson.
I'm Dan and Nix.
And collectively we are... No. We're not going to do that. So we've been... yesterday we spent the afternoon with Chris Graves, who is my former boss. And he and I had a web hosting company. And so yesterday we did what we call office hours, which is we go into one of Chris's coffee shops. And in fact, we did two coffee shops, one in Denver and one in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. And we just take a few hours out of the day and we talk to other entrepreneurs about whatever their entrepreneurship hurdles are or what their marketing hurdles are. And we found a lot of common themes. And so since we heard that from just the general public of entrepreneurs, we figure it's probably going to be helpful to talk about it here on this podcast to other people.
So, common theme number one, website analytics.
Would you even put that before websites? No, because we'll wrap that into this.
Yeah.
We'll wrap that into this. All right. So analytics. Yeah. I've been taking to calling analytics the glorified hidden hit counter. It's got that same kind of appeal, right? How many people have come to my website?
Right.
But that's a very ambiguous and shallow, it's a narrow way to view all of the resources analytics really lays down at your feet.
Right.
But most of us don't know how to use it.
So the common theme that we see is when we're talking to all these entrepreneurs, we look at their website and we use software that shows us what kind of trackers are showing up on that website.
Ghostery, if you're interested. Yeah. So for Chrome or Firefox, you can grab that extension.
Right. So we look at that and 80%, maybe 90% don't have anything.
Not tracking at all.
Not tracking at all. And so what that means is when they're talking about marketing tactics and strategies, they don't know what role their website actually plays in that customer journey.
But that doesn't stop them from having assumptions about what role their website is playing in the journey.
Right.
So there are all these outside indicators of like, well, I'm not getting enough calls. But how does this have anything to do with your website? Why do you assume that it's your website not doing its work? Or is that the only thing that's doing the work?
Right.
And I do see people who do have Google Analytics installed. When they do, generally I hear, we haven't looked at them in a while. Okay, great. So you put this thing on. Again, you don't have purpose for it, and you don't know how to use this tool.
Right.
So one of the things that I generally show people right out of the gate, if they have Google Analytics installed, is I show them the acquisition channels. So you'll see that if you log into Google Analytics and you look on your left-hand side, you'll see acquisition. You click on that. You can then select channels, and it will show you where your traffic is coming from.
Right, which is super valuable, especially if you're playing on social. Now you can tell how important social is to your customer's journey because it'll tell you how much traffic you're getting from Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram.
Right, and it will also tell you how many people are coming in through social. You'll also see something in there called direct. Not social. You just said that. I meant organic search.
Yes.
We have to remember a lot of things, and sometimes it's too much.
You should probably have notes.
Damn it. All right. So organic search, you can see how many people came in through Google, Bing, Yahoo, Ask, which actually all of those, I see traffic coming in from all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, somebody out there is still using Ask.com.
So at least firing analytics is super valuable to any marketing effort you are going to do. Now that takes us to step 2. You just mentioned search. You can see how many people are coming in through organic search.
Correct.
Right? Now, Google also offers a free product called Search Console.
So let's actually take a step back from that. If you are in Google Analytics and you go on that left-hand side and you see acquisition and you see channels, you click on organic search, it's going to show you search terms people used to find your website. So you go, oh, okay, well, 80% of this, 90% are not provided. So thanks, Google's only showing me a few ways that people are Googling to get my site. Here's a secret. That's not Google. Those terms are not coming in through Google. In fact, most of them are going to be coming in through Bing because it's an unsecured search. So what you're really seeing is what people are typing into Bing to get to your website. All of the Google information is hidden. Now we go to step 2.
That's a very, very good point. And Yes, a lot of it took me so long to actually figure that out.
Right, but Google actually is giving you this information if you know where to look. Where you find this information is within Google Search Console.
Yes.
So take us through that.
So you can link Search Console to your analytics, and Search Console will actually tell you what terms people are typing into Google to take them to your website. So you can actually show up, you can actually see where you show up in search for a variety of terms. And you may actually find there are pockets of people hitting your website that you didn't know about because they're searching for a term that you didn't even think was related.
Absolutely. And so that's one of the other things too, is it helps you understand the way people are talking, the language people are actually using. This is an aggregate of information. Yes, you're not going to see what every single person is typing in, but you can understand their language so much better. And when you understand their language, you understand what terms to use in your website so that you can rank better for those terms that are important to the success of your company or your website.
Right. It's a super powerful tool for SEO.
Absolutely.
Super powerful. Especially if you find a search term that people are coming to your website through and you don't even have a page on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you see something that's like, it's showing that your real estate company is ranking very well for the term toothbrushes, or, how to use toothbrushes for cleaning or something like that. You're like, why the hell is that happening? Well, you can actually see what page it links to. Mm-hmm. And then you can go on that page and you can be like, this has nothing to do with toothbrushes for cleaning. I'm missing the mark. I need to kind of reevaluate the text on this page and how we're talking about things.
So Search Console, super powerful.
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing, though, before we leave Google Analytics, I know we already left Google Analytics, but let's go back to Google Analytics.
Okay.
So if it's one of these very narrow places that you use, well, our sessions have gone up by this much. Our website traffic has gone up by this much, right? There's the next question that you need to ask is why and where. And so when you do that, sometimes what you'll find out is that a blog post that you wrote a year and a half ago has suddenly found its place ranking well in Google. And so when my wife and I had a business, 80% of our traffic came from a single blog post about how to grow your eyelashes with coconut oil. We were outranking Pinterest. We never would have known this if we didn't look deeper into Google Analytics. We would have just gone, well, our traffic is up. Our business must be doing good. Well, when you find out that 80% of your traffic is coming to a single blog post and people are not doing anything beyond that, that changes the game. Or you look at that blog post and you say, okay, now how can I exploit this to bring people through the journey better? Because at the time we wrote it, we weren't thinking that this is going to be the most popular page on our website.
Right. And that's organic SEO in a nutshell.
Correct. And that information is already out there if you have Google Analytics installed. If you don't have Google Analytics installed, it doesn't mean that none of this is happening. It just means that you don't have eyes into it.
Right. So Google Analytics, very important. Yes. Search Console, also very important.
Yes.
What's the next one?
Why do you have a website?
Okay, we'll tackle that in a second.
Well, then we need notes, Dan.
So what's the next tracking thing that we always put on every single website we deal with? Tag Manager is how we implement it. Okay. So Google Analytics, Search Console.
Why don't you tell me? Why don't you just tell me what
I will tell you.
See?
Google Analytics, Search Console, Optimize.
Oh, Optimize. Yeah.
Optimize is another free product from Google, which is amazing.
It's really incredible. The information that we've been able to discern from Optimize has really driven some amazing results for our clients. And there's no reason it shouldn't be able to do that for you. You won't believe us when we tell you, if you've never seen this tool, how powerful it is. You don't have to know HTML. You don't have to know how your website was even built generally.
So in a nutshell, what Optimize does is add a layer above your website that fires before your website's loaded and lets you modify aspects of it and determine which...
You don't even have to determine.
Well, Optimize will tell you which variation is better. So use case scenario, you have a website and you have a call to action that says, email me. With Optimize on your website, you can actually change that email me text to send me a message.
Contact us.
You can try out all the variations. And now when you run that experiment, Optimize will tell you which one actually gets people to email you more.
Right. You are able to test all of these different variations of an idea and see which one your audience responds to the best, exclude the ones that aren't operating the best, and then make that permanent change.
Yes, it's super powerful, and we use it all the time for journey optimization. And it's crazy when you think about, you have a website that's getting 100,000 hits and you have a 2% conversion rate. What if you could raise that by 0.5%?
Right. What does that do to your business?
Yes. And it's so easy.
And it's free from Google.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you've got analytics firing, you've connected it to Search Console, you've got Optimize running, and you're optimizing your website experience. There are 3 social pixels that most people don't know about either.
Okay.
Facebook pixel, Twitter pixel, LinkedIn pixel.
Right. And how do we use those? Okay. So Facebook is going to be the one that I like the most because it gets me access to remarketing to people on Facebook. So what that means is they've come to my page, they've loaded it up. Facebook knows who that person is. They know what that account is. They're not going to tell me, but they will allow me to run ads to that person when that person is on Facebook, or if I've selected to on their audience network. But I have the opportunity to remarket to them. That's a way for me to stay top of mind. It's a way for me to reinforce my value proposition, and it's a way to actually take them deeper in the journey. They already know who I am and what I sell. Now, how can I make that better? Maybe I can offer them a sale. Maybe I can talk more about features instead of benefits.
Well, and the other thing it allows you to do specifically with Facebook, but with all of these social networks, is sometimes when they check out your website, they may not be in the right mood to buy, or they
Correct.
may not be in a situation when they can, but that doesn't mean they won't. And now you can talk to them in an area where they may possibly be at home relaxing and they have time to make that purchase.
They're like, oh yeah, I did want to get that
Exactly.
turntable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where I always say remarketing is important because we have so many distractions in our life, and especially our digital life. You know, if somebody hasn't checked out, then if they've checked out rather than checked out, then that's a way to kind of reengage them,
Right.
and hopefully bring them back into your circle and have them convert.
All right. So those are the tracking tools that we use.
I didn't talk about Twitter though.
Okay.
So I just talked about Facebook.
Okay.
So Twitter, I don't love Twitter for finding audiences there, but I really do like it for remarketing. So just like we were talking about with Facebook, so I'll have my Twitter pixel firing there so I can remarket to people. That way I don't have to do awareness campaigns on Twitter, but I can do reinforcement consideration campaigns on there.
Okay. So then that brings up LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's my favorite.
Yes.
The reason why it's my favorite is because you can fire the LinkedIn pixel. LinkedIn will attach that to a LinkedIn profile.
Which, by the way, you don't have to be running a campaign to do this.
That's true.
You don't have to have money behind this. You can get this just right out of the gate.
Yeah. As long as you set up a LinkedIn business account, which if you're running a business, have a LinkedIn business account.
Ad account.
Yes. Yeah. So you fire this pixel, and now LinkedIn will actually tell you when you have a large enough audience. It's like 100 visitors or so.
I think it's 300.
Is it 300 for
Yeah.
LinkedIn? So when you have a large enough audience, a large enough visitor pool to your website, it'll start telling you the average title. Like, are they CEOs? Are they managers? It'll start connecting.
Are they VPs of marketing? Right.
Exactly.
And then it'll start showing you what companies they came from. So you won't know that the VP of marketing at Halliburton visited your website, but you'll know that somebody from Halliburton has visited your website.
Right.
And you'll know that somebody in the role of VP of marketing has visited your website.
Right. And the reason why I like this is because, and we had a conversation with a couple people yesterday, that they don't know if the website's actually valuable. And they don't know, like, what role does it play? But they also don't know who is responsible for actually hiring them. Is it the CEO? Is it the director? Is it a manager? Is it a low-level admin that is recommending people?
Right.
And so you can use this LinkedIn pixel and this LinkedIn information to find out, well, who is actually researching you.
Right.
And when you know that, then you can start targeting some of your other marketing efforts.
Right. The only reason you would want to find that out is so that you can start personalizing content to those people who are coming by who are important to your business. But again, it's if you don't know who's important to your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a great way for them to tell you rather than you to decide on the front end. So we did all that. We've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter pixels. We've got Optimize running. We've got Search Console. We've got
Analytics.
Google Analytics.
Yep.
And we'll put all of this in the show notes, by the way. Do we want to talk about websites yet, or do you want to talk about something else?
Well, we need to talk about how we actually implement this, and that is Tag Manager.
Man, we're all over the... We already talked about Tag... Oh, no.
So Tag Manager is another free application from Google.
Mm-hmm.
You put one line of code into your website.
Wrong. Two.
It's
more complicated than one line.
It's two lines. It's one copy and paste.
No. It's two copies and paste. One goes in the head, one goes in the body.
Okay, fine. Anyways, it's super easy to implement, but once you implement it, you can actually implement all the other tags through it without having to jump into your code.
Right. So you don't have to go in and paste the analytics code or the Facebook code or the Twitter code or the LinkedIn. You don't have to do all that. You can just fire it all through Google Tag Manager. Now, one of the biggest benefits of that is that your website doesn't have to load a ton of extra code to still give you that same information. And speed is very important for search engine optimization. So it's a nice way to do that. The other great thing that nobody ever thinks about is when you do a WordPress site, sometimes when you update your theme, you can lose a lot of information, right? Well, with this, you don't have to remember what was firing on your website. If you lost that tag, just paste the tag right back in and then everything fires again.
Well, it has another added benefit, and that is event tracking.
Yes, absolutely. Which, again, most people... they if they knew that they could do this, they would. Which is, let's find out what links people are clicking on, and call those events. So buttons, links, things like that. We can say this many people hit your dealer locator page or a button to your dealer locator, and maybe that takes them off site, but that's okay because you can still see that they click that button and they're showing intent to actually find a dealer.
Right, and that's why it's so important, because when you're tracking the journey on your website through just analytics, if your journey involves actually leaving the page, it's very hard to track that continual journey. And you don't actually know if they left to this page or if they just left in general.
Right. And this way it gives you some more actionable insights into how people are behaving with your website.
Yes.
Which brings up Hotjar.
Hotjar, yes.
So Hotjar is really cool. And they actually, it's extremely powerful, even on the free version. All of this is going to sound so spooky, but on the on the marketer's end, it's awesome. So Hotjar will allow you to see people. It'll actually let you watch their cursor as they move and scroll through your website.
You can't watch it in real time. It takes a sample of your traffic, so it's not the super creepy version.
Yeah, I mean, it's just creepy enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not like watching somebody in their house. It's like watching a videotape of somebody in their house.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
I don't know if it is. But so you can see how people are interacting. I couldn't tell you how, but on one of my clients' websites, I was watching one of these sample sessions, and I realized I don't even know why. They weren't typing anything in, but I could tell what they were looking for was not contact. They were looking for a customer service page, and the site didn't have one. And I was like, I bet that's what they're doing. And then sure enough, I see them and go fill out a form later on that said that they were looking for customer service. And it was just very interesting how much you could intuit from their action and just moving around the website.
Yeah. Hotjar also offers like inbound polling, success polling. You can run a poll to your visitors, especially if you're doing a sales page. You can actually you can ask your customers, why did you buy?
Right.
Just to get some more insight from your customer base.
Yep. There's also heat maps. How far are they scrolling? What buttons are they clicking the most?
If you have any forms on your website, they'll actually do form drop off. So they'll analyze your form and watch it and see where people drop off on your form. So maybe you can tailor it so more people complete it.
Yeah, in the last episode, we were talking about that of what form fields do you keep on your forms and which ones do you lose. This will tell you without a doubt. And in fact, when we did that for one of our clients, I remember it was just so obvious what they needed to cut.
Yeah. Yeah. It was you had a 2% drop off until you hit one field, and then it was a 68% drop off.
It's like, well, if you can pull that field, you're going to get more subscribers. You're going to get more people in the door to say yes.
Yeah.
So Hotjar is pretty amazing as well. Do we have anything else?
I think that covers
we didn't
all the basics.
Yeah. So the big one is website, which we talked to so many people yesterday, and they said that they couldn't tell us why their website really existed.
Well, and this goes to, so to frame this up, everything we've talked about so far is about tracking visitors on your website.
Right.
Now it's, why do you need to track them, and what do you want them to do, and why do you have a website in the first place? And very few people actually think about that.
Right. And you don't, and I guess when I ask that question, if you give me 5 different answers, well, we want them to do this and do this and do this and do this, you don't know why you want them there. That's the same as saying, I don't know.
Right.
So pick 1 or 2 journeys, right? And then have them, and that's the first thing you tell people to do when they come to your website. Tell them what you're there for, how you solve their problems, and then tell them the next step. If you do that, well, 1, look at your website and see if you're doing that at all. Mm-hmm. Are you telling people what that next step should be?
Right. Right. Because so many times, especially when we're dealing with solopreneurs, people that just have a website that's kind of like this is who I am. It's kind of like a glorified bio, right? Mm-hmm. This is the service I offer. Here's my phone number. Very rarely do they actually have, this is the problem I solve for the people I solve it for, and here's how to contact me. Very rarely are those 3 things above the fold.
Right. Well, and one of the guys we had yesterday, I mean, he provided a super valuable service that a lot of people need, but it was like, well, I need people to read these 3 paragraphs before they even sort of start to understand what it is that I do. And I'm like, listen, you're not going to get 3 minutes from people on your website in whole. Mm-hmm. So it's silly for you to think that anybody's going to take the time to dig into this if you haven't told them how you help them just right out of the gate, right, and then told them the next step.
Right. And then so often, if the case is we want them to send us an email or send us a phone call or send a phone call.
They can send a phone call.
Why not? Why not?
Technology, you can do anything.
So many times, if it's we want them to send us an email or call us, it's either a phone number that's not linked.
Oh my gosh, that pisses me off more. Also, public schools, link that.
Right.
Link that damn button, man. Like I'm on my cell phone. I'm trying to call my kid in sick for school. Don't make me copy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not set up right, and they're not actually they're normal text. They're not buttons. They're not call to actions. They're not I don't remember where I was listening to it, but there was a consultant out of Chicago who's talking about how he optimizes websites for his clients. And the first thing he always does, and almost the only thing he really needs to do, is say, put a big red button in the top right-hand corner that says buy now.
Right. Tell people what you want them to do. Don't make them guess at it.
Right.
So make sure, so think about your website with intent, right? Mm-hmm. What do you actually expect people to do here, and how does that turn into business for you later on?
Right. And a lot of people, a lot of small companies, they're either doing it all in-house or they're doing it by themselves, and they didn't hire designers or whatever.
And why aren't they hiring Omniphonic? I mean, that's really what they should be doing, is omniphonic.com with an F spelled
German spelling.
The German spelling.
German spelling. But so I gave this advice to a gentleman yesterday when he's talking about redesigning his website. It's start backwards. What do you want them to do? Okay, you want them to call you. So you have that button that says call me. Here's where it is.
What'd they do right before that?
Right. Right. So now when you're talking about the product you offer, why should they call you? Put that description right there.
Right.
Now you've worked backwards and you have that journey. They hit your page, they read this that says why they should call you, and then they call you.
Right. But if you don't have that journey mapped out, if you don't have that flow there, and it doesn't need to be complex.
Right.
If you just say, I want somebody to come to my homepage, understand what I do, and then follow, email me, then set it up that way.
Right.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that they can't do other things on your website, but you're giving some intention to that. The other thing is a crappy website design. Right? I don't mean to be, and I don't say that to be mean. I say that in the sense of, if this is how most people are going to interact with your business on the front end, mm-hmm. shouldn't you be putting some time and care into that?
Well, and yes.
Especially if your competitors have a more clean site, more trustworthy site, and they're selling themselves better.
And there are a few arguments for how important is the website in your business, especially if you're a referral-based business, which most people are,
right?
To be honest, If you're a referral based business, people are using the website not to actually contact you, they're using to validate you.
So give those validation signals up front.
Right. And in that validation process, how your website looks and the actual visuals and how it feels will set the tone for how they actually feel about you.
Right. And a site that looks like it's from 2002 doesn't necessarily mean that you've been around since 2002. You must be trustworthy.
Right.
It doesn't indicate that you're keeping up.
Right. And it's more important when you have very close competitors in your same field that people are likely to pick, especially if one of them have done a very good job creating a very solid website that really validates what they do. Now you're competing against that validation, and those trust signals can actually sway someone's decision making, whether or not you were referred or not.
Absolutely. So I think that was a good strong data dump. I think you're gonna have the next week or two carved out for you if you haven't done any of these things, or you're doing them but you don't know really how to exercise them. So we'll have all of these links in our show notes of what we recommend.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it.
All right.
Visit us on the web, omniphonic.com.
Spelled with an F, German spelling.
Yep. And find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And nobody's going to find us on LinkedIn. But we do have a fun Instagram. We do have a fun Instagram one. And if you have any thoughts on the show, of course, always feel free to reach out either in the comments of the show or send us an email.
#.
Yeah, #.
All right.
Till next time.